So today I'll talking about the role of NGOs in international partnerships and examples. And my name is Victor Shin and Shin Jae-hyung in Korean. So before talking about how they're working on internationally, I want to talk about what NGO is. So it's normally we all know NGO is standing for non-government organization. But I want to go more deeply on this. So they have depend on their characteristic or depend on their role. They can be called as non-profit organization, civil society organization, citizen-centered organization, social benefit organization, or grassroots support organization, or either non-state actor. So for grassroots support organization, I want to just for short, I want to focus on this. Grassroots it can be just think about the cornerstone cornerstone. So it's just forming an infrastructure for the country or from the region for where there is less developed, and this can be contributed to the help of children's health, and not only children's health, but is helping to those regions. For second, how is significance? So as I inferred in the last slide, non-government organization is free to the power to interference of government or other essential power. So they're like not limited to do the activities which are listed in the left. And so what NGO doing is they seek to achieve large-scale change promoted indirectly through the influence of the political system, and they maintain large informed network of supporters. So which is mean despite the differences of race, differences of what country what background they are from, this organization have free to have supporters from any other backgrounds or any other countries, and they also have a power to reach to change the society at all. So for my main topic, I'll talk about activities of NGO. Of course, it'll be like globally or partnership with international institutions. And the first one is operational role of NGO campaign, the campaign that NGO having a combination of both operation and campaign, because those operation and campaign could be seen as similar method, but it has kind of different because operation is affecting on more on doctrine and on more greater term, while campaign is more focusing on the local people's life. And for last, I will talk about public relation of NGO. So for operation role of NGO, it achieve a small scale change directly through projects, and while it mobilize a financial resources and materials. So volunteers to create local progress. Oh, sorry, I want to change it because I just talked about operation had a target to large role, and I want to change it that operation is target to more limited to local, and campaign to more large targets, so such as doctrine and policy making. Sorry, I want to change it. So operation NGO, they focuses on the design and implementation of development related projects, such as service delivery and advocacy, NGO defense, or promotes a specific cause. For example, so one of the NGO, International Medicine Corps, IMC, in Afghanistan, they had a vaccination campaign which against the measles. It is a disease that has been identified by the World Health Organization, WHO, to be the leading cause of half of vaccine preventable disease in Afghanistan. There have been serious danger in Afghanistan because many of the infant and mortality rate have been infant death, which is mortality death rate have been increased due to the measles. And so what IMC first do was they trained 170 Afghani nationals and how to vaccinate children, and then led a 15-day vaccination campaign, reaching 95% of children between 6 and 12 months of age in capital of Kabul. And what they affect was the infant mortality rate of not only infant mortality death rate, but the total death rate of Afghanistan have been decreased due to the vaccination campaign. For a second, I want to talk about the campaign. It is to achieve large-scale change promoted indirectly through the influence of the political system. So for Project Life Jacket and the so for the Ice Bucket Challenge, they both have, it is well known as because they had been very famous in social network service in like 5 or 6 years ago, and they're, I say it's indirectly through the influence, but this could be that through the indirect influence of those campaigns that could directly affect on policy making or doctrine making when they are when they success to uh, when they success to tell to real people how this is a serious problem. For example, the Ice Bucket Challenge I just inferred, it is one of the most successful social media fundraising projects of all time, and it gained national press coverage and raised millions for the ALS Association. So the second one, the Make a Wishes YouTube channel, is a channel that's supporting the children and by revealing their personal stories and experiences. The organization uses YouTube videos to show the world these interesting stories, driving support for their cause. As a result of the inspiring content, they have grown into a household brand and can help thousands of children fulfill their wishes. So that's why I prefer to like look on this channel or look on other social network services that have been used by like NGO organization that supporting those children, those people who cannot have help from other institution or countries. I'll just skip this because of the time problem. So for the third one, I want to talk about combination. And for like previous slides, I talked about that operation campaign can be similar term, but they can be like similar role or similar term, but they have different because operation they work on more limited or like they're working on local terms, while campaign is more directly looking for on policy making or doctrine making. And not only this, so operational NGOs, they mostly rely on financial support of donation or fundraising. And while campaign also rely on financial support, but they also have like symbolism because as you as I introduced campaign, those campaign are directly targeted to the public, which is those public can support those activities, which we could have more power compared to operational NGOs. For last, the public relation of NGO, they use sophisticated public relations campaigns to raise funds and deal with government. So according to IDCCI, such NGOs from two countries. Sorry, I prepared the scale that's too limited, but from this data, I want to infer that how NGOs are having cooperation with government and with international institution for SDG from this chart. And finally, for the NGOs participation in SDG. So this emerging form of collaboration between NGOs are a way to operationalize the integrated and universal nature of the SDGs. However, these collaborations will remain fragile if governments and the UN do not follow the example to overcome silos, and if some types of NGOs are not sufficiently included in national and international processes. NGOs can also play an important role in contributing directly via the implementation of the projects and in holding the private sector accountable, although we observed some reluctance from NGOs in taking of this role. This unwillingness is linked to a lack of definition of the so-called new partnership between national SDG actors and by a fear that this new partnership will result in result in blurred responsibilities. And thank you for listening to this speech.